Hello, welcome to another episode of our live stream, My Journey to the Trinity. My name is Hussein. Hope you're having a good day and good night, good afternoon, depending where you are. Um, one thing that I've started yesterday is kind of this series. Um, the series is um, yesterday it was 10 reasons that Alexander the Great is not a Muslim, because the belief in Islam is that he was a Muslim. And yeah. And today I was going to do 10 reasons why Pharaoh wasn't a Muslim. And a lot of these reasons are from the Quran itself. Okay. So these reasons a lot of them are going to come from the Quran itself. Okay. And one of the first verses that I wanted to look at, let me make sure. Oh, wait a second. I got the wrong ones here. I got the wrong ones here. This is from yesterday's. Oh, shoot. I do have it. Let me just look here. See if oh no, what I do. Well, I had it in here in this pocket. Make sure that I think I took it. Let me just 1 second again. I I forgot where I put my list. I wonder if I don't know where I put it. I have my list of. Oh no! Sorry, guys. I forgot where I put my list of my 10 reasons why Pharaoh is not a Muslim. Oh, found it. Okay. 10 reasons why Pharaoh is not a Muslim. Okay. Number one, we're going to have to look at some of these verses in the Quran. I mean, because a lot of these reasons today, they actually come from the Quran. Okay. This is one of the first. It's from. Okay. All right. Here's one of the reasons. Here's first reason. Okay. First reason why Pharaoh was not. Okay. Let's read this verse here. Pharaoh declares, "O chiefs, I know of no other God for you but myself. So bake bricks out of clay for me, O Haman, and build a high tower so I may look at the God of Moses, although I am sure he is a liar." Okay, so this is verse 28:38. So one of the reasons, okay, if you're keeping track, I know yesterday Tiger was keeping keeping track of all of the 10 reasons why Alexander the Great wasn't a Muslim. If you're keeping track today, the first reason is because he considered himself a god. So Pharaoh considered himself a god. He says so right here. He says, I know of no other god for you but myself. So there's the first reason why Pharaoh is not a Muslim. Somebody who calls himself a god is not a Muslim. So there's number one reason. The number two reason is because, Muhammad didn't show up until 600 AD, around 600 AD. Whereas, according to this verse, Pharaoh existed around the time of the Tower of Babel, because the bake bricks out of clay to build a high tower to reach to the heavens, that happened 2,800 years before Muhammad. That was 2,800 years before Muhammad. This is in this verse right here. So, according to this verse, Pharaoh was around at the time of the Tower of Babel, the high tower that would, a high tower made baked bricks of clay to build a high tower. That was 2,800 years before Muhammad. So how could he have been a Muslim when there wouldn't be Islam for another 2,800 years? According to this verse right here. So here, is proof that there's no way he could have been a Muslim. Islam didn't come into existence for another 2,800 years, almost 3,000 years. Because if you look at, the Tower of Babel, where did Pinky go? If you look at the Tower of Babel, the Tower of Babel was, they pretty much say it was after the flood. The flood was about 4,400 years ago. The flood was about 4,400 years ago. The Tower of Babel was like 200 years after the flood. The people, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, started scattering a little bit, but then they decided to take up residence in Babel, and that's where they started building the tower. That was about 200 years after the flood, which was 2,800 years before Muhammad. So how could he have been a Muslim if he was 2,800 years before Muhammad? Okay, how could he have been? The belief is that he was the first Muslim. How could he be the first Muslim when there was no Islam for another 3,000 years? So then also, based on this verse, this was during the time of Moses, because he wanted to see the God of Moses. So this Pharaoh knew Moses. Okay, so we know we're talking about the Pharaoh of Moses. Okay, because this is during Moses' time. Well, Moses was, let me see the time here. Moses was 1500 BC. That would have been 2,100 years. So Moses would have been 2,100 years before Muhammad, because he says he wants to go see the Tower of Babel, which was at 2,800 years BC. 2,800 years before Muhammad. To see the God of Moses, that would have been 2,100 years before Muhammad. And so you got this huge time span. This huge time span between the time of Moses, which was 2,100 years before Muhammad, and the time of the Tower of Babel, which was 2,800 years before the time of Muhammad. So he couldn't have been a Muslim because look at the how much time there was, between uh, Muhammad and Moses, Muhammad and the Tower of Babel. And then we have a third issue, which is Haman, because it says here, look, so bricks of clay, oh Haman. So this has to be Haman also. Well, Haman, this is actually the closest one to the time of Muhammad. He was about 1,100 years before Muhammad. He was 1,100 years before Muhammad. So you got the Tower of Babel, which was 2,800 years before Muhammad. You've got Moses, which is 2,100 years before Muhammad. And you've got Haman, who was 1,100 years before Muhammad. So all of them are long before Muhammad, 2,800, 2,100, 1,100 before Muhammad. So how could they be Muslims when it was this long before Muhammad? So there I have given you guys from just this verse 4 reasons why Pharaoh could not have been a Muslim. Okay? Unless you guys, and I got to make this, there's got to be this exception here. And the exception is if Pharaoh had a time machine to travel between the time of Muhammad, the time of Haman, the time of the Tower of Babel, and the time of Moses. And he could travel because between those times, there's like 2,800 year span. There's a almost 3,000 year span between the time of the Tower of Babel, the time of Moses, the time of Haman, and the time of Muhammad. So, in order for him to be a Muslim, he would have had to span all that time, travel all that time back and forth, So, anyway, there's 4 reasons why Pharaoh could not have been a Muslim. Okay. And also, he considered himself a god. Someone who considers himself a god is not a Muslim. Okay. A time traveling Pharaoh. Well, I don't want to put limits. Maybe there was some kind of time machine, and so, all right. Another reason why he could not have been a Muslim is because according to this verse, um, 17:103, Pharaoh was drowned. Okay, so Pharaoh wanted to scare the Israelites out of the land of Egypt, but we drowned him and all of those with him. So here the Quran is telling us that he drowned, okay, meaning that he died before Islam. Okay, and he drowned doing an evil thing, trying to scare the Israelites. Okay, running after the Israelites, trying to kill the Israelites. Okay, so this was an evil thing that he was doing, and he drowned in disobedience to Allah. He drowned in disobedience to Allah. Okay, so this is a reason why he couldn't have been a Muslim. He drowned about 2,100 years before Muhammad. So how could he have been a Muslim? Okay, and then we go here. 840. Oops. Oh, sorry, that's wrong. Okay, Now, this is also Allah here saying what he did to Pharaoh. We seized him and his soldiers, casting them into the sea. See what was the end of the wrongdoers. So here, Allah is calling Pharaoh a wrongdoer. He was a wrongdoer who was punished by Allah. Allah seized him and cast him into the sea. So he died uh, in punishment, in disobedience to Allah. So how could he be a Muslim? How could he be a Muslim when he died in disobedience to Allah? And then we have this verse. It says, speaking about Pharaoh and his army, and when they enraged us, we inflicted punishment upon them, drowning them all. Okay, فَلَمَّا أَسْفُونَا انتقمنا منهم فأغرقناهم جميعا. In Arabic, it's exactly the correct interpretation. أغرقناهم means we drowned them. So here again, Allah 3 times in the Quran says he drowned Pharaoh, and he drowned in disobedience to Allah. So how could he be a Muslim? How could he be a Muslim when 3 times the Quran says Allah drowned him? Okay. So, and then we go, oops. Okay. فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدْنِكَ لَتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً كثير من الناس عن آياتنا. Okay. In this verse, it says, we preserved you. So apparently, and I know that they've translated it this way, but let's look at how they translate 1092, Islam awakened. Let's look at how they translate this. Oops. Okay. Okay. We shall save you. Here, Allah's talking to Pharaoh, and he says, today we shall save you in body, so that you may be a portent for all these. So here, apparently, Allah did not drown him. Now, there were 3 verses that say that he drowned in disobedience because of his wickedness, but here it says, we will save your body. So we shall save your body this day. So here Allah is saying he didn't drown him, but we will this day deliver you with your body. What? So Allah didn't drown him. So there's 3 verses in the Quran where Allah did drown him for his wickedness, meaning he wasn't a Muslim because he died in disobedience. But here, Allah saved him from drowning, so that he could be a sign. Okay. And we will deliver thee with thy physical form, and we will preserve you in your body. We shall save your. Now, here it says dead body because they know they have a huge problem on their hands. We shall save you in your body to be a sign. We will preserve your body. We shall preserve your body. We will deliver you. Okay, here they're saying dead body because they know the Quran says that in the other 3 verses that they drowned him. But here they're saying Allah did not drown him, but he saved him. If he's saving him, what other part is he going to save? His spirit from the water? So this is one of those contradictions in the Quran, because sometimes the Quran says Allah drowned him. I showed you 3 verses where Allah drowned him in his rebellion, and those verses are clear proof that he could not have been a Muslim. Okay? He could not have been a Muslim because he died in disobedience. But here, the Quran says that he was saved. So he did not die in disobedience. So I'm not sure what to think about that. But, the Quran 3 times says that he drowned, and 1 time says that he didn't. Allah saved him from drowning. So, I'm not sure what to say about this. Today's photo. Well, you know what? Pharaoh was the original Egyptians. Somebody's saying that he was like Osama Dakduk. Let me see this. Oops. What if Osama Dakduk is a descendant of Pharaoh? Actually, the pharaohs were originally the Copts. The original Egyptians. The original Egyptians were not Arab. They were Copts, like Maria the Copt. And today there's the Coptic Church. They're the original Egyptians. The same way that the Assyrian Christians, they are the real Assyrians. The same way the Chaldean Christians in Iraq, they were the original Chaldeans or original Iraqis. And today they're just a church. And the Assyrians today are just a church. And the Coptics are today just a church. But they were originally the nation, the original people. Okay. Pharaoh, and Pharaoh would have been a Coptic. So yeah, they may have been related to Osama Dakduk. So so anyway, there I've given you, look at all the reasons I've given you why Pharaoh cannot be a Muslim. Number 1, he considered himself a god. Number 2, he existed 2,800 years before Muhammad. Number 2, he existed 2,100 years before Muhammad. Number 3, he existed 1,100 years before Muhammad, according to that one verse. So there are 4 reasons why he cannot be a Muslim. Number 5, he was drowned in the sea in disobedience, according to 3 verses of the Quran. But then, of course, there's another verse of the Quran that says that he was saved. So is there a contradiction in the Quran? Is it telling us he drowned and then telling us he didn't drown? You know what? I'm not going to go there, but the Quran does say he was saved and then says that he died. He was drowned. So 3 times it says he was drowned. Okay. Then we have this other verse, okay, in the Quran. Okay. This is 1092. That's 1092. No. Oh, 4037. Okay. According to this verse, okay, looking up to the heaven to look for the God of Moses, although I am sure he's a liar. And so Pharaoh's evil deeds were made so appealing to him that he was hindered from the right way. According to this Quran, he was hindered from the right way. So عمله والصد عن السبيل صد عن السبيل وما كيد فرعون إلا في تباب. So here it says that Allah hindered Pharaoh. Allah hindered Pharaoh from the right way. And what's the right way according to the Quran? Islam. And so Allah made Pharaoh's evil ways so appealing to him that he was hindered from going to the right way. According to the Quran, chapter 40, verse 37. Okay. And then We have this verse about Pharaoh. It says, "No one believed in Moses except a few youths of his people, while fearing that Pharaoh and their own chiefs might persecute them. And certainly Pharaoh was a tyrant in the land. He was truly a transgressor." مصرفين okay إنه لعل في الأرض فرعون لعل في الأرض وإنه لمن okay, so another way that they translate this is that he was truly wanton, truly wanton. And so this shows you how evil he was. He was a tyrant and he was a transgressor and a wanton. Like a wanton, meaning he was very desirous of doing evil. He loved to do evil. The word here in Arabic, musrifin, it really has that kind of an understanding. Musrifin, like commit excess. Doesn't just do evil, he does excessive evil. Okay, which is so how could he be a Muslim if he's excessively evil? Okay, all right. Then we have this verse right here where Moses prayed for Pharaoh. Moses prayed, "O Lord, you have granted Pharaoh and his chiefs luxuries and riches, which they use to lead people from your way. O Lord, destroy their riches, harden their hearts so they will not believe until they see painful punishment." So Moses prayed that Pharaoh, there's another reason why he's not a Muslim, because Moses prayed that he would not see the right way. Okay, so that they will go to hell. Moses prayed for Pharaoh to go to hell. And Moses was one of the prophets of Allah. And so he prayed for Pharaoh to go to hell. So how could he be a Muslim when Moses prayed for him to go to hell? Okay. Then we have this verse. And Moses replied, "You know well that none has sent these signs down except the Lord of the heavens and earth. And I really think, O Pharaoh, you, O Pharaoh, are doomed." So here Moses is telling Pharaoh that he is doomed. I wanted to say one thing about what the Quran, about the Moses here. I just want to say one thing about the Moses in the Quran, because this is 1088, where Moses is actually praying that Pharaoh, go to hell. And all right. Okay, but I wanted you to see in the book of Exodus what happened. Just because it's a little bit different than this. Not a little, it's very different from it. But look what happens here. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, "Up, leave my people, you and the Israelites. Go worship the Lord as you've requested. Take your flocks, herds, as you have said, and go." But listen to these next words. Look what Pharaoh says. "And also bless me." Dang. Pharaoh understood. He said, "Bless me. Bless me." So I just want to show kind of the difference between the true story and the story that's in the Quran. Okay. So, all right, let's go back now to the Quran. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's really painful to go from the truth of God's word back to the Quran. Okay. There's another verse about Pharaoh. Let's just look at it. 20, 24. It says, "Go to Pharaoh, for he has truly transgressed all bounds." So Pharaoh has transgressed all bounds, according to this verse of the Quran. So how could he be a Muslim? How could he be a Muslim? Okay. Um, so there are, let's see how many reasons I gave you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And then I want to look at the one, there's actually the verse where Pharaoh, I want to show you this verse. I want to show you because there is actually a verse. Okay. Um, uh, where is this? Okay. 4 to 29. Okay. Okay. It says, "Oh, my people, authority belongs to you today, reigning supreme in the land. But who would help us against the torment of Allah if it were to befall us?" Pharaoh issued his people, "I'm telling you only what I believe. I am leading you only to believe in the way of guidance." Um, let's see. There's one verse where he says that he um, just one verse here. Um, um, uh, okay. Okay. The there's I want to get the right verse for you guys because there's actually a verse where Allah says where Pharaoh says um, shoot, this isn't the verse I'm looking for. Okay. Eunice 90. Okay. Okay, I think it's 1090. Let me just look at this real quick here. Verse 1090. Pharaoh and his okay. Then Pharaoh and his soldiers pursued them unjustly and oppressed. But as Pharaoh was drowning, he cried out, "I believe there is no God except the one in whom the children of Israel believe. And I am now of those who submit." Okay. لا إله إنه لا إله إلا الذي آمنت به بنو إسرائيل وأنا من المسلمين. I am of the Muslims. So he believed in the religion of the children of Israel. So and he says he is of the Muslims, but there's no God. But he doesn't say anything about Muhammad. He doesn't say anything about Muhammad. How can he be a Muslim if he believes in the God of Israel? He believes in the God of Israel. Okay. Uh, and the interesting thing, you guys, this doesn't have the word Allah in it anywhere. In Arabic, it says La ilah. There's no God except the one that the children of Israel believed in. I am of the Muslims. Okay. But it says he believes in the God of Israel. The God of Israel is Yahweh. He's not the God of the Muslims. He's not Allah. In fact, there's no mention of Allah here. It says, even in the English, I believe there is no God except the one in whom the children of Israel believe in. And now I'm of those who submit. Even in the English, there's no mention of Allah. There's a mention of the God of the children of Israel. So Pharoah here says that he believes in the God of the children of Israel, not the God of Muhammad. Okay, there's no mention of Allah here. La ilaha illa alladhi amanat bihi banu Israel. There's no God. And if you guys know the Arabic, if you're familiar, la ilaha illallah, there's no God but Allah. But that's not enough. That doesn't make you a Muslim. You can't be a Muslim by just believing in the God. You have to believe also in Muhammad to be a Muslim. So this doesn't qualify for him to be a Muslim. This isn't enough, according to, you know, okay, here it is, you guys. I'm not trying to make a bigger deal of this than, okay, but here's what Prophet Google says. No, you cannot be a Muslim without believing in Muhammad. The first pillar of Islam is the Shahada, which includes the belief in Allah, the only God, and Muhammad is the final messenger. Okay? No. See that no right there? No. You cannot be a Muslim without believing in Muhammad. And so how could Pharaoh be a Muslim when he didn't believe in Muhammad? I've seen so many videos of people talking to Muslims, and they say, well, if you submit to God, you're a Muslim. No, you're not. It says you can't be a Muslim without believing in Muhammad. So how could Pharaoh be a Muslim? Pharaoh, according to the Quran, existed 2,800 years before Muhammad, 2,100 years before Muhammad, 1,100 years before Muhammad, but he did not, so he couldn't have known Muhammad. And according to this, no, you cannot be a Muslim without believing in Muhammad. First pillar of Islam is the Shahada. Can you be a Muslim? Let me see. Can you be a Muslim without? Can you be a Muslim? You know what? Before I do, I want to make a copy of this. Okay. Pharaoh did not say anything about Muhammad. Can't be Muslim without Mo. Okay. Let me see. Can you be a Muslim without saying Shahada? To become a Muslim, one can say the Shahada. Believe it is not a condition that the testimony is said aloud or in front of witnesses. Can one convert without saying the Shahada? Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see what the Sheikh says. Okay. Superstructure of Islam. Okay, Muhammad said, structure of Islam is raised on 5 pillars, testifying to the fact that there's no God but Allah and Muhammad is his, and the establishment of prayer, zakat, pilgrimage, okay. As you can see, testifying is the first pillar of Islam through which you enter the religion. This is the first pillar that must be met. Doesn't have to be said formally in a mosque, but the individual has to utter the Shahada, even if in private to himself. Allah and the angels are watching, of course. Okay, but he has to say it. Okay, the scholars underline that when a non-Muslim wishes to embrace Islam, he has to recite the Shahadatain. Okay, he has to. It's not conditional. Okay, we can't become a Muslim or you can say we can't be in Islam without the Shahada. Okay? So, according to the teaching of Islam, you cannot be a Muslim without saying the Shahada. There's no way that Pharaoh did kind of say half of it. But you know what? If you look at what Pharaoh said, even in the Quran, what Pharaoh said, here, let me put it up again. Oops. Oops. Sorry, I'm getting stuck now. Okay. If you look at what Pharaoh said, he says, I believe there is no God except the one whom the children of Israel believe. So he didn't even say that he believes in the God of Muhammad. He said he believes in the God of the children of Israel. So is that a shahada? That's, it says nothing about Muhammad in here. There's nothing about Muhammad in there. Okay. And I'm kind of curious to see, kind of curious to see what Ibn Kathir says about this. That was 1090. Okay, 90. It says, all right, let's look at what, no. I want commentaries. Sorry. Okay, Ibn Kathir. Now, Ibn Kathir would have been aware that there's this big mistake in the Quran, and he always tried to fix the problems in the Quran. So I'm curious what he would say. So let's look at what Ibn Kathir says about this. Allah tells us how he caused Pharoah and his soldiers to drown. The children of Israel left Egypt in the company of Musa. It was said that there were 600,000 soldiers plus offspring. They borrowed lots of ornaments from the Coptics and took that with them. Pharoah became angry. So he sent heralds to the cities. He embarked following them. Okay. The people, they said, because God, okay. The sea closed over them. The waves took them. And this, I believe that none has the right to be worshipped but he in whom the children of Israel believe. And I am one of the Muslims. Okay. According to the Gospel of Barnabas, many Muslims believe this was written above the gate. Yes. Okay. Of course, the Shahada, you guys, is written above the gate of, in the Gospel of Barnabas. It says above the gate in the Garden of Eden. So, there's only one God, and Muhammad is his messenger. God himself and the angel Michael drove them forth from paradise. This is Adam and Eve. Whereupon Adam, turning him around, saw written above the gate, there's only one God, and Muhammad. So, yes, I'm aware of that, and plus wasn't it written on Allah's chair too, Muhammad's name? He engraved it on his throne, the name of Muhammad. Like when you're in love with somebody, you write their name. The Bible says that God inscribed our names on his hands. But anyway, Allah loved Muhammad, so he wrote his name on his chair. And but Pharaoh did not say the Shahada. He said he believed in the God of Israel. and he believed in the God of the children of Israel. Okay, and so Jibril said, "Oh, Muhammad, if you could only have seen me while I was taking the mud from the sea and filling his mouth out of fear that the mercy would reach him." Yeah, and so anyway, guys, there. Anyway, guys, there you have it. Pharaoh is he could not have been a Muslim. He could not have been a Muslim. I'll tell you the reasons. Number one, he did not say the Shahada. He said he was Jewish. Pharaoh was Jewish. He said the Shahada of the Jews. He didn't say the Shahada of the Muslims. He became a Jew. And, some people say, well, everybody was a Muslim. Well, no. If everybody was a Muslim, why did they call them Jews? Why did they call them Jews then? Yahud, how many times is that mentioned in the Quran? If everybody's a Muslim. Why do they call them Nasara? Why do they call the Christians Nasara if everybody's a Muslim? Okay, they aren't, And so, anyway, here are the reasons why Pharaoh could not have been a Muslim. Number one, he existed 2,800 years before Muhammad. Number two, he existed 2,100 years before Muhammad. Number three, he existed 1,100 years before Muhammad. Number four, he considered himself a god. Number five, he drowned, according to 3 verses in the Quran, in disobedience to Allah. Number six, he didn't drown, according to the Quran. Pharaoh was hindered by Allah from going to the right way, according to 40:37. And he was wanton, according to Quran 10:83. Moses prayed for him to go to hell in 10:88. Moses said that he was doomed, and these are this is Moses, who said this. Moses prayed for him to go to hell, and then he told him he was doomed to hell. And then it says that he transgressed all bounds. And then when it says that he's a Muslim in the Quran, he did not say the Shahada. He didn't say nothing about Muhammad. He said half a Shahada. And according to Google, according to Uncle Prophet Google, you cannot be a Muslim if you don't say the Shahadatain. You have to say the Shahadatain. Okay? And so those are reasons why Pharaoh could not have been a Muslim, you guys. There you have it. Settled. Okay? And I told you guys, we had a little bit of fun, you guys, with some of this. But in reality, I hope you see this is as much a critique of the Quran as it was about Pharaoh. But just the fact that, look, they have Pharaoh living in the time of the Tower of Babel. They have Pharaoh living in the time of Haman. They have Pharaoh living in the time of Moses. And there's over 1,000 years between all those events. And somehow he knew about Muhammad, and then you have the fact that the Quran 3 times says he drowned, and then 1 time says he didn't drown. It's not a contradiction, you guys. I'm not saying it's a contradiction, but he drowned and he didn't drown. Doesn't mean contradiction at all. Okay. And then you have the fact, Allah hindered him. Moses cursed him, prayed for him to go to hell. So anyway, so there you have it, you guys. And 10 reasons why there's actually 8 reasons why Pharaoh could not have been a Muslim. Another reason, and it's in the Quran and in the Bible, and that is that he had magicians, and he was really into magic. He was really big time into this magic thing. His magicians, according to the Bible, were named Janus and Jambres, and he really did a lot of witchcraft. So, according to Islam, witchcraft is evil. People go to hell for it. So, except for if Muhammad is under it, which he was for a year. Hadith says Muhammad so either she went to hell or Because retroactively, Houston, you're kind of. I'm not saying you're being disrespectful, but you are kind of making fun of something, and that is the time travel aspect of this. There's a lot of time travel going on here, and Pharaoh's not the only one. Pharaoh's not the only one in the Quran that this happens with. You know that Miriam, she was supposedly the mother of Isa 2,000 years ago, but she was also with Moses and Aaron, 1,500 years before that. So there's that time travel element. There's a lot of this happening in the Quran. It's just truly a fantastic thing, and I know you don't mean to be disrespectful or anything, but just but yes, he does get to marry, of course, and Muhammad gets to marry both of the time travelers, Pharaoh's wife and Miriam of his imagination, and so yeah, it does say that I think what's her name, Asira, or I think Asiya. Asiya is supposedly the wife of Pharaoh, and so Muhammad, gets to marry her, and then so does um, Miriam. So yes, the easy explanation that Mo was pretending to be the various prophets. Yeah, so there you have it, you guys. At least 10 reasons, most of them from um, the Quran about why Pharaoh was not a Muslim. And um, so, yeah, there you have it. And so tomorrow we're going to continue this series, and tomorrow I'm thinking about doing 10 reasons why Abraham could not have been a Muslim. So hopefully I'm not 100% sure. I'm working on this. It could be Adam, because he was also a Muslim. Of course, Allah was a Muslim too, and according to the Quran, the demons are Muslims. And according to Quran 72, the jinn are Muslims. We can talk about why they can't be Muslims. So why Allah is not a Muslim. There could be that too. Why Allah can't be a Muslim. Uh, so yes. Um, so, all right, you guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. If you haven't done it, please do it now. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. Jesus, help me. Jesus, forgive me. Jesus, come into my heart. يسوع ساعدني. يسوع سامحني. يسوع ادخل قلبي. We love you, but much more importantly, he loves you. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for hanging out.